Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on Upptalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say Upptalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you are new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
Manage identity. Basically, we were here create identity page through which you can create identity. We submit one request here yesterday for test. Identity got created here. Now, the same way you have this two option, view identity and edit. View is same thing like we open identity from this identity warehouse. No difference when you click on the view. Now the other one is manage identity, edit identity. Which identity want to edit? It's Adam Kennedy. You see, here identity field is showing blank here. And if I open here Adam Kennedy, you see there is no option to edit. The reason is generally is not allowed to change the attribute directly from here. But in case sometime it's required, how can we, make that attribute editable? Go to your mapping. If it is not advisable to edit from here, where you should edit from. No, generally, this Wallace data should come from authoritative system. Authoritative. Basically, this is Adam Kennedy. Let's say tomorrow, Adam Kennedy wants to change his last name. You need to reach out to the HR team and HR. Once that HR team approved, they need to change the name in the HMS system. In the next iteration, this value will be updated automatically. But also we can do by ourselves too. Enable that option. For that you have to go here identity mapping. Here, let's say if you want to enable the region, we can. We should be allowed to modify the region attribute here. How to do this? Make this, you see edit mode. It's a read, only make it permanent. Now you can permanently edit this field. Save this, open this user again. Now we'll see edit button here. When I click edit, it will only allow you to change the region here. Same with here. Go to manage identity, edit identity. We can use let's say I'm in the ROS. Now you can only modify region. This is not advisable. But sometimes we do change because we are creating a lot of attribute here. Some attribute we can modify here. Based on that, you can enable it like this, but in general process, the user needs to go here. XMS system, this is a flow that we are using. User needs to go here RMS. And once that HRMS team enter, or basically you can say update the record, then in the next aggregation will bring that data into SailPoint database. We should not change it. Because if I change the email address here, if I change the last name, it will become a totally different identity which is not present in HRMS database. This is not an advisable, but to enable this is how you have to enable it. Now, if you see, we have enough data here. We have different users. We have many users here. And we have application to the application. If we go to entitlement catalog, these are the different access. For example, if I pick any random access, I can see that this is the one user who has membership on this access basically. Same for a track application. Basically, now we have enough data. This is the one access on the track application. You see members. These are the member who has access on this application. Now, basically, we have enough data to test out different feature. Previously, we used this group population bug group. Now there's one more feature which is most widely used. If you go to SailPoint, you will see on the front screen, go to SailPoint. Here you go down. Products. You see compliance, management, access, certification, and separation of duties. Separation of duties are compliance policy, but SailPoint providing multiple policies here. But we can create like mostly entitlement SODs widely used. Now, what is this entitlement SOD policy? Policy is basically any type of rules that you want to implement. You can control some excess behavior of the user. Let's say we have different user. Let's say RN Nicholas. This is one user. Go to application, expand this track. Currently this. RN Nicholas has 4 axes on the track application, approve input, reject super. And if you go to the entitlement catalog, we know that totally. We have 4 axes for the track application. It's here by the track. Now these are the 4 axes. Let's say you want to implement a policy that at a time a user should not have combination of these 2 axes. Let's say approve an input. If you see by the name, approve means who can approve the request. Reject means who can reject the request. Super is basically super admin input is basically who can create the request. This is for the timesheet. Now you have to assume that this is basically a system where you can request for reimbursement request or some payment requests, and same time there will be user who can approve those requests at a time. User should not have this both access together, otherwise what will happen? User will create a multiple request and user has authority. He or she will automatically approve. I mean they will approve all the requests that is generated by them. As per the organization compliance, we have decided that at a time, any user should not have this 2 policy at a time. In order to maintain this, we have a policy, or here policies go to new policy entitlement SOD policy. SOD means segregation of duty, and you can also call it separation of duties. Simple output name track SOD. Policy violation owner. Let's say if any user is violating this policy, who will be the owner and a specific identity you can choose from here. By default, this is selected manager. For example, I am the user who is violating this policy. A violation will automatically generate to my manager. And if you have set any specific requirement, you can put in the rule. We will use this manager is a violation owner. Go down status and active. Select active, create new rule. This is your main rules, SOD policy rules. Click on this button here. You see these 2 sections. First, entitlement set and second, entitlement set. Here, based on this wizard, you can define those attributes, those in excess, basically. Let's say we want to implement for approve and input. First, we'll select application name. Click on add attribute, which attribute we want to use. Capability. You will see ask capability, which capability approve. Same with second track application attribute capability, which capability input. At a time, say one will check for all the user that they should not have this, this attribute, this and excess first entitlement set and second entitlement set. If I save this, done now, you will see this message, new rule capability, approve any of this entitlement. conflict with any of this entitlement. Save. This is a bug. When you click on Save, it will show you same page. The policy is already saved. Go to a policy. This is a policy in active state. Now you can run this policy by two ways. One is basically in a disabled manner, and first one is active manner. This will be means basically simply. It will just check how many users are violating this policy. When you click on this run simulation, it will trigger a task in the background. The task is triggered automatically. I'll show you the task. Save this. Now, when you run this, it disabled the policy here. Go if you want this. You see it got disabled because whenever you run that policy, it got disabled here. You have to enable it again. Now coming to a task that which is created here, go to task here. There should be some tasks here. You see policy impact analysis tracks OD. New rule, number of pollution 48. But how to? This is just for test purpose. Just you can, do an impact analysis from this task, how to run actual policy. Once you define your policy here, your policy should be in active state. And inside this particular rule should be also in active state. This is currently disabled. Let me confirm this. Now this is active. This is our policy. Now go to task. Here you have to run this. You have to select task, check active policy. Click on this task. You see here, basically if you see, this is a copy of your refresh anti-cube task. I'll open a new tab here and search for refresh anti-cube task. Refresh anti-cube does a lot of things. If you see here, many options. This is what we did, what SailPoint did. SailPoint make a copy of this task with only one option in label enabled. That is here. Check active policy. If you see the task name check active policy, here you will see all the options disabled. Only one is enabled. That is check active policy. Basically check policies. A copy of this refresh anti-cube task with only one option enabled. You can use both tasks. You can also trigger the policy from this refresh anti-cube. But if you only want to trigger the policy violation, you want to avoid other option, you can simply run this task, check active policy, save and execute. For this is executed. You see policy check track, so the total user checked 189 out of that, 48 are violating this policy. 48 user are those users who have this access. Approve and input both. Now the violation is created. Violation will be assigned to the manager. For example, if I check this user, Aaron Nicholas is no manager for this user. If you go to policy violation here, you will see 48 violation. For each user, you will see the owner. Who is the owner for Amanda Ross? Jerry Bennett is the owner. Now, but let's say if I log in from this user, let me first reset the password. This is a user change password. 1, 2, 3, 4 change password. 1, 2, 3, 4 say this, log out from here. Now I log in from this Jerry Bennett. If you see, policy version count is coming as 3. If I open this now, it will show me those 3 users who are reporting to this user, Jerry Bennett, and the policy violation. TRAD. This is the policy name. Now it will give you option allow or revoke. When you allow, it will ask you time period. By which time period you want to allow this access. this violation and further revoke. It will give you prompt here out of this to access which you want to revoke to or immediate this access, limited this violation. This is how we handle the violation in SailPoint. Here, if you see description is coming blank, the reason is at the time of defining the policy, I have not provided any kind of description. I cannot have two values. You see, description field is totally blank here. And again, here also you will see the description field. This is totally blank. If you want to provide those instruction here, it will come directly. You don't need to do any special thing. A thing like user can have, he cannot execute it. Like he cannot order the access and he cannot approve by himself or that same user, or he cannot have two values only. There are two things. Policy, when we apply the policy applied by two ways. One is when you have existing data on the data you are applying. You are basically checking any user who has this access to simply generate the policy violation. Now the violation owner will be responsible to take action. Let's say I configured the manager. Manager needs to take action. Manager is a coalition owner, for example. I am the user, I'm violating the policy. I have both access, approve and input. I'm violating a policy. The violation will go to my manager. Now manager needs to remove one of access, either it's approved or input to remediate the violation. Same time new user who are requesting for it, we can also control that. But in order to control that, you have to learn one more thing. When we click on this quick links, SailPoint call this business process. If you go in Lifecycle Manager, second tab business process. For each quick links, here this business process is defined. Let's say whenever we use manage user access or manage account SailPoint, call this. First two, basically LASM provisioning. Let's go to business process editor. Basically, I have to explain this in the workflow chapter, but that's fine. Now, if you see this LASM provisioning here, LASM provisioning selected, go to process variable here. Scroll down, you will see a section related to policy. When we're requesting something at that time, if you want to check policy, use the setting. You see continuing policy violation. These are four options. Whenever for example, I'm requesting for approval input for you. Let's say running, call us or any user. For that, I'm requesting to entitlement same approve when input which are validating this policy sort. But two separate rules have to be created, one at request level, one is for already existing users. No same policy will be used. We have defined this policy. When we run the task, this policy will evaluate against all the users that we have in the system. Now the second is at a time of requesting. This process is called, this LASM provisioning is called, in this LASM provisioning there is a step, there's a particular piece of code is written which we check the violation. We basically check any policies configured in your system. And yes, if that is policies configured, is it your request, is validating that policy or not? That is configured here. If you scroll down here, policy checking, now policy setting. These are the four options. Whenever you are, let's say I'm requesting for you to entitlement approval and input, and which is when you're worried by this policy track sort. These are the four options that we can configure. First one is we can disable the policy checking. No policy will be checked by the process. Second is continuing policy violation. Even if the policy version is there, it will continue. It will not give you any message or anything. it will go as a normal flow. But in the back end, it will basically create a violation, but it will not stop you to request. Third one is present failure to request. I'm requesting for you. It you will give me problem that you are violating a policy. I'll be not able to order the request, the access. If I'm up. Last one is fail workflow, immediately fail the request. I'll show you the third one, how it will show you, and user policy setting present failure to request and policy to check. Or if you want, you can select from this list. Now we have only one. You can go with this option. Of this option, both are fine. Save. This process is saved. Go to Manager Access again. Now select an user, let's say, who has no account on track application. Let's say Alice, check if he has or pick any user. Basically, this is fine. You see this user already has input access. Now for this user, I request for approve access. Next, filter application in track. It will only show me track entitlements. These are 4 entitlements. This user already has input. Now I will request for the proof. Next, submit. You see, policy violation will occur. Track a new rule. Now, based on your policy, what you have defined here it will show, but this here it will just simply show the basic thing that you are violating this policy. Got it. And one more query like this is for new user. What about considered already users are having access to approve and input? Now we will implement the policy rule. What will happen to the existing users? Yes, for the existing user, we run this task. The task, you know the task I run, check it to policy. I covered up both scenario for the manager, like violations is there for these users. See here, I am requesting it. It will present this violation to me because I am requesting it. And this is what we configured here in the business process. If you see here advanced settings software, instead policy present failure to request. It doesn't matter manager is requester or SP admin it. And the person who's requesting it will show the message. Existing user. If you see, we configured here what manager is the violation on that. When you run the task check active policy, what's the point? Date all the user which are present in the SailPoint system on the same one database, same point run. I mean same one evaluated if any user is violating this policy, like SOD with this condition that we have defined here. If it is yes, it will generate a violation and it will assign the violation to the manager. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.